Welcome to the official Yeshiva League Pass playoff preview brought to you by Holy Schnitzel. I am Jason Aaron, joined by Ari Witkus and the man you can never see behind the camera for Socks, Jason Meyer.
Socks of 4 right there.
We're coming to you live as I get my playoff brackets here, 1 and 2. You'll find out more about that later. And Ari will take us through the night as I think about the Holy Schnitzel that I'm going to eat on our way out of here. Maybe some shawarma, some falafel, chicken, fries. I mean, whatever.
They have it all at Holy Schnitzel. And this is the Yeshiva League Pass playoff preview sponsored by Holy Schnitzel.
I think I said that. Didn't I say that?
Yeah. Well, you can never tell them enough. Let them know where to go. Follow Yeshiva League Pass on Instagram. Holy Schnitzel's on Instagram. They're located all over the tri-state area, a bunch of different locations. Check them out. Uber Eats, they're available anywhere you want. You can go.
All right, so what are we doing here tonight? All right, it's the playoffs time.
Yes,
it's basketball.
It's the eve.
It's the Yeshiva League. It's President's Day. Happy President's Day to everyone who believes in presidents. So this is what we got. We're heading into the playoffs. There are a bunch of teams. Looks like we have 4 heavy first-round matchups that are coming up tomorrow night. It's Monday, so Tuesday night.
Tomorrow night is the first of the 4 matchups, and the remaining 3 are on Wednesday night.
And before Ari breaks down these matchups, because he watches way too much high school basketball, I have somewhat semblance of a life left. We have to remind you, if you are like Ari, and also like Jason, and you follow Yeshiva basketball.
He just does it silently. He pretends that he doesn't follow it.
What you want to do is, I got my Instagram open right here. P Mongo Brackets. That's the letter P, MONGO Brackets. One word on Instagram. You want to head over to that account right now. All the rules are posted there. You're going to follow Yeshiva League Pass, which we're assuming you're doing if you're watching this video.
I hope so.
And there's a bracket challenge. It's March Madness in January or February or what month are we in?
You know what they're giving away? It's February. You know what the
I
first
heard
prize?
a brand new car.
Well, kind of, but it's an iPad. An iPad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With your brand new iPad, you could buy a brand new car.
First prize is an iPad, and then I believe there's some other great giveaways. And we've just added a prize fresh off the show here.
Let me guess.
4 socks is game worn. Two pairs of his 4 socks.
Game worn?
Game worn.
So what's that, back from like 2nd or 3rd grade?
Yeah. Game worn while he shoots the video.
Understood.
Okay.
All right, so yes, head over to P Mongo Brackets. Check that out. Official rules are there. You got to submit. You got to DM your winners before the first game starts. So get that done. Now, without any further ado, Ari, get us into this.
Okay, so if you're following this show, you obviously know who's in the playoffs and who's not. We're talking about the 6 teams in each division who made the playoffs. It came down to the Eastern Division. The number 1 seed is the Hafter Hawks at 12-2. MDY Mag and David Warriors 11-3. Shari Torah Stars 11-3. DRS Wildcats 10-4. North Shore Stars 7-7, and the YD
Thunder
6-8. In the Western Division, the Hillel Heat 12-2. The Heschel Heat 11-3.
A lot of heat up top.
TABC Storm 10-4. SAR Sting 8-6, Ramaz Rams 8-6, and the Frisch Cougars 8-6.
Now, Ari, if I'm not mistaken, we saw every one of these teams but
Which
one
is exactly,
in the Saturn tournament.
That is correct.
TABC Storm.
But I have personally seen. Yes, your alma mater. I have personally seen either at after a road game or via the Saturn tournament every one of these teams. So
he watches their live streams because as we mentioned earlier, Ari has.
I do. I have been caught watching some of these live streams, or 3 or 4, and
shocker.
Kind of like to say that I think I know my stuff, but obviously these are predictions, and also any disclaimer: these are our predictions. This is just to have a good time.
And don't be swayed by my hat. Even though we are the home broadcast of the Hawks, Ari's actually a much bigger homer than I am. So take it away.
Okay, that is true. So we're going to start off with the Eastern Division. The Eastern Division, the first 2 teams have byes. Those are the Hafter Hawks and the Mag and David Warriors. Their first game taking place tomorrow night is the 4-5 matchup. That is the DRS Wildcats at number 4 taking on the North Shore Stars at the 5 seed. So what I've done is I put point spreads.
You have?
Yes, point spreads, the official point spreads of these games. I believe that the DRS Wildcats are a 9-point favorite over the North Shore Stars. I believe DRS, it comes into this game. They lost to Hafter in their final game of the season, which they could have clinched the 1 seed. They lost to Hafter. They fell to the 4 seed. DRS, a very, very experienced team. We've talked about Jojo Valinsky, Zach Brown, the great shooting of Ezra Siklik. They are a very, very good team. And I believe they have the best home court advantage throughout the
I think 9 might not even be enough. Honestly, I think 9 might not be enough.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I did think of double digits, but I was like, I wanted to give North Shore a fighter's chance. So I went in at 9. North Shore is led by Stephen Levion, the junior. And they finished the season 7-7. I think if you ask them, it's probably a disappointing season for them. I think they had higher expectations coming into the season, and they finished at 7-7. But interestingly enough, they have played each other twice this year, and they've split their games. So, I believe it's DRS's game. I believe they're going to win, and I believe the 9 point spread is a good spread.
Forsox is not nearly as big of a loser as you are, so he only goes with the straight money line here.
Yes.
And he too has picked DRS to win that game.
Okay, so that is
official Forsox prediction.
first quarterfinal
in line
game.
with now DraftKings and FanDuel.
Only in New Jersey. The schools in New Jersey can bet.
Right,
not
in New Jersey. If you're listening, we're looking for additional
Do you
sponsors.
have to be 18 or over to do that, or
I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak. I have nothing to do with these types of
we will
things,
find.
so,
We'll look into that. So we'll find out next time if DraftKings or what's the other one?
FanDuel.
FanDuel want to
I've heard.
sponsor us.
Yeah.
So that is our first game. Our next matchup in the Eastern Division is the YDE
Thunder
taking on the Shari Torah Stars. Shari Torah is the home team. Shari Torah has had a phenomenal year. I believe coming into this game, Shari Torah is a 12-point favorite over the YDE Thunder. These two teams have played each other at least once, I think twice, and I believe Shari Torah was victorious 2 times. Shari Torah is a phenomenal team. They have, Jackie Haber, the Swade brothers, Shlomo Ambe, the great coaches, the Sandusky's. Yes, Coach Sandusky, that is correct. We've talked about that in the past. They do a great job. They run and gun. They're up and down. They will, score 90 points, maybe give up 80, but they are just a fabulous team. And when they're clicking, they are a really, really tough matchup. I believe they're going to pull away. They're going to cover the spread, beat YD Thunder, who is led by the great. Do you remember?
No.
Joey, me.
Oh, Joey Machadi. That's my guy. What do you mean? That's my guy.
Joey Machadi, the Satrin
I was
legend.
just joking. Of course, I remember.
Yes.
Now, if that game's close, I actually might like some Machadi magic.
Absolutely. And
Towards
that was the one game in Satrin I missed, and I'll never hear the end of it. But I did go back and watch it on the live stream.
Allegedly.
But I really never did. But I heard about it.
I know.
So
I'm with you on this prediction. 12 might be a lot. We'll see. And Forsox in line. So we're all straight shooting here.
we're doing good so far.
And we move on.
The next game, I have the 4-5 seed in the Western Division. This is the Ramaz Rams taking on the SAR Sting at SAR in Riverdale.
Sting.
So
We didn't see SAR at the
we didn't see SAR, but they were at one of the After Hawks live stream games that Hollywood missed. Because he missed half the games. So
Not half.
So I have a good idea of SAR. They also do a great job on their live streams. So I've seen some of their live streams.
Of course you have.
They are a team that is, of course, really coming into their own now. They struggled early part of the year. They were, really playing not to their potential. Later in the season, led by Jay-Z, Jason Zucker, Ellie Jesselson, and Joseph Gross, they've really had a nice winning streak here. They might have won 3, 4, or 5 games in a row. I don't remember exactly. And they're taking on a Ramaz team, which we saw in the Satrin tournament, but it's not really breaking news because most people know this. Spencer Rubenstein, their star, is out for the playoffs. He has a high ankle sprain, so we wish him a refuah shlema. And I just think he's a game changer.
He is. I mean, that team is very one-dimensional. I see you have a spread here of -3. I would say it's probably more without Spencer.
Yeah, I think
I probably should have moved.
Yeah, I was given that a little. I still believe in Ramaz. Some of their big kids, Valinsky, and some of their shooters. Ashendorf, we saw him have a great tournament in Satrin. They have a fighter's chance because they're a good, solid, defensive-oriented team, which we saw how hard those kids play. But I think SAR is just peaking at the right time. Ramaz with that injury, I think SAR advances to beat Ramaz.
And according to the official Forsox predictions, he picks SAR as well.
Wow. No one's going out on a limb thus
Did
far.
you two talk beforehand?
We don't talk about 7 times a day, but we don't we do talk, but we don't really say anything to each
Oh,
other.
okay, I understand.
So
You
nothing
just
of substance.
Just
I
keep
can
the phone
promise
line
you.
open. You got those unlimited
Correct.
minutes. All right.
Absolutely. The final matchup of the quarterfinals in the Western Division is the Frisch Cougars taking on the TABC Storm.
2 of my alma maters.
Yes, 2 of your alma maters.
Yes.
And
The battle for Bergen County.
correct. This is the battle for Bergen County. The Battle of Cedar Lane, or
Not even
not
close.
really. No.
No.
But there is a Cedar Lane somewhere in there.
Teaneck,
right?
not where
Not in
TABC
Paramus.
is. And
So
yeah.
this game is they actually they played each other twice this year. They split. We know we've talked about in the past. Frisch has some big shoes to fill. The great big man Shmuley Coates is not playing. Danny Weinberger is also out, I believe, still. So they're going to be led by the man who wears the cape, Max Zackheim, number 0, the big redhead. He's not really big, but he's a phenomenal player, and he has actually almost single-handedly caused some great upsets. They beat Heschel in the last game of the regular season, and he had 30-plus points. He is a one-man show with a lot with some help from Frisch. They got some big kids, they got some shooters, but Frisch can only go as far as Max Zakheim goes.
Well, Frisch has a ton of height.
Yes.
And coming into Saturn, one of the things we'd heard about Frisch is that they're a hot and cold team. Now, yes, they're missing probably their most pivotal player outside of Zakheim, who unfortunately we saw the injury during the Saturn tournament.
Another refuah shalema to you, Shmuley.
Hope rehab's going well. But Ari, I mean, you expect hot and cold teams to get hot going into the playoffs. You have TABC as a 4-point favorite.
Yes, I have. Well, let me just say one thing about TABC before we go there. I have TABC as a 4-point favorite, and I really struggled over this game. This was probably my hardest game of the first.
You haven't slept in a week, have you?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
All right.
I mean, it's amazing I look so good. But
yeah.
I really struggled over this game the most out of the first 4 matchups, and I was going back and forth. But I just feel like TABC with the great coach Oz. And this is also a disclaimer. If Zevi Samet is playing, I know he was hurt at the end of the season, the junior, great junior from TABC. Yoni Man, Merwis, Kay, they got some really experienced teams. And yes, I do know all these names for Sox. I'm not making them up, I know them. So these kids, if they're playing to their capabilities, I believe TABC is going to beat Frisch, but I did struggle with this a lot. I don't know necessarily cover, but I do see TABC win.
Well, for Sox, disagrees.
I knew this was going to be the game that we went our different ways. What do you think? You haven't really seen TABC, but they're the defending. No, they lost in the JV championships last year.
We're gonna dive in here. I feel that all boys schools tend to have an advantage over co-ed schools
with home court
in big games. There's something about the energy.
They have a great home crowd too. TABC,
yeah, there's something about the energy of an all-boys school. And again, I attended both schools.
Right.
I think that might put him over, but it would not surprise me in the least bit if Frisch won this game.
Oh, so you just covered both
angles. I'm pretty sure I just hedged my
going out on a limb, Jay Hollywood Aaron right there.
If I show up at the booth or at the FanDuel, I think I take TABC.
You take TABC.
Yeah, not by 4 though. I'd take Frisch with the points.
Yeah, that's going to be a close one. I can even sniff out overtime in that game. It's going to be a classic.
And you know what happens then?
Well, we're not calling the game, so it doesn't really matter to us.
Oh, no, not then. I mean now. We go to the second round.
We go to the second round. So the way it works quickly in the Yeshiva League, if a 6 seed beats a 3 seed, we reseed. So in Four Sox's case, Frisch would go on to take on Hafter. I'll do it how I have it first, and then we'll go on to Four Sox. Four Sox is
the Sox of 4.
The Sox of 4.
Yeah.
So I have the DRS Wildcat going down to Deal, New Jersey, which is a trip. That is a big road trip.
That is a trip. I mean, it depends when the game is, but on a weeknight,
it's going to be on a weeknight.
You're talking 2 hours.
It's a 2-hour trip, and this factors into my prediction of who wins this game. Taking on the Hillel Heat, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. You know, it's funny. They went 12-2, and they really don't get a lot of respect. They really don't. People have
no big superstar.
Right. They didn't have a great tournament in Saturn. They lost in the championship of Tier 2. But I don't think they have no superstars. I think they have Mo Tobias, Joe Zakaria, and Zach Citron are 3 seniors who lead that team. The great coach Zvi Goldberg. I think they're a little underrated because no one talks about them. But I think that this game, since DRS has to go all the way to Hillel, I think that really has an effect on the outcome of the game, and I think Hillel wins this game, being more well-rested coming into that game, and they beat DRS in a very close game.
Now, just to stay in line, because Four Sox's bracket on the top half was the same as yours, he does have this game, and he also has Hillel winning.
Oh, interesting. I struggle with that. I did think DRS could pull it out, but
that's a nice home court advantage game.
It's a nice home court advantage game.
In Yeshiva, listen, in Yeshiva basketball, what was that now? Okay. In Yeshiva basketball, home court doesn't always play such a factor.
Correct.
As much as it does, let's say, in Yeshiva hockey, where home court is huge because everyone has a different style of court, of boards. Right, and they just know the home court's better. But I think once you get into playoff time, a big home crowd, one of our Hafter guys, the greatest showman, Matthew Jedwab, talks about the home crowd all the time.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And especially between the travel. I think
a 2-hour bus ride. Yeah, that
makes a big difference.
That's a big one. Moving on.
Moving on. In the other, well, I'm going to go in the other, I'm going to skip on how I have it written here. The other 1 versus 4 seed, I have the SAR Sting traveling to our hometown right here, the 5 towns to take on the Hafter Hawks. This game they've played each other already in the regular season. I believe Hafter was victorious by about 15 or so points. I believe Hafter wins this game. I believe it's another double-digit victory. I think they're just a little too talented for SAR, who is very well coached by Coach Halpern. But I feel like Hafter is just it's their year where they're clicking, and they've got this 1 seed, which they beat DRS in the final game to secure that, and it means a lot to them. And I think that they're going to go ahead and beat SAR and advance to the semifinals.
You might worry about the time off. I mean, we don't even know when this game is, so it could be.
It's not for another week, at least.
It could be about 3 weeks since they've played a game of basketball. But listen, I was just at Hafter. Everyone's off of school today, and they're running a 6th grade girls practice over there. So you know that Coach Honig.
The varsity is scrimmaging the 6th grade girls?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
No,
unbelievable. They're staying
That's
sharp.
how rumors get started. No, but Coach Honig's over there. I mean, he coaches so many teams.
Yes.
So you know that this team will come correct.
They are. Yeah, they're going to be prepared.
They'll be well practiced, even with the layoff. Although, look out for a rocky start. You don't want that.
I agree with that. When you have that layoff, and that's sometimes people say buys are great, but sometimes teams playing in that bye game.
You don't worry about conditioning or anything like that. That's what they'll be practiced. Sometimes though, you get a little stiff. It's a big playoff game and a couple weeks off. So, all right, go on.
Okay, and the other matchup, the 2 versus 3. It's the and Four Sox and I are in agreement with this. It's Shari Torah traveling to Heschel to take on the Heschel Heat. Now this is going to be an excellent game. The Heschel Heat and Shari Torah Stars. I believe they played each other in Saturn. I don't remember the outcome, but I feel like Heschel's the 2 seed, Shari Torah is the 3 seed. Shari Torah is going to win this game. They're gonna play their run and gun style. They're gonna just keep going, and Heschel can play that run and gun too. Heschel has a great coach, Pickman.
Do they ever?
Yes, but I feel like Shari Torah, with my first real big upsets Heschel in the quarterfinals and goes on to advance to the semifinals to take on the Hafter Hawks.
You know who else is upset? Four Sox, because he has the Heschel Heat in that game.
Ooh.
And I will tell you that, listen,
great
Heschel,
Tricky Ricky Sutton.
You got Tricky Ricky, and Heschel's always a big 3-point shooting team. Always something you got to look out for them. I've said it for the last number of years. They live and die by that shot. So let's see how it goes.
And also, one thing that I'm just thinking about now, as I didn't think about before, Heschel's home court is a lot smaller. It's wide, but not lengthwise, which is actually going to hurt Shari Torah's run and gun style because they want to get up and down that court, and their court is a little different proportions. But I still think Shari Torah in an upset beats Heschel, the defending champions Heschel Heat.
Take us to the last quarterfinal game.
The last quarterfinal game is also a rematch of a regular season game. The TABC Storm travel to Brooklyn to take on the Mag and David Warriors.
That's a trip too. That could be an hour and a half.
That's a trip also. Not like going down to Deal. This game happened earlier in the year at Mag and David, and TABC was victorious in overtime. They beat Mag and David, but I just feel the veterans of Mag and David, Coach Dweck, Joe the Sultan of SWAT, Albert Nasiri, Teddy Cohen, Tico, the stars of stars, the veterans they are. I believe they beat TABC.
I don't see how Mag and David loses a game. I mean, they're so talented. They do everything well, and they have a junior rising star, literally, vertically.
He could be taller than the last time we saw him.
Who knows? And Sultan, who is only getting better.
And he has the best grandma in the business.
For sure.
Grandma Sultan.
And he comes off the bench for those guys. So
yeah, I know. I think it's just to make an even playing field. They don't want to just put him on right away. They're like, let's just hold him back for 2 minutes, and then they unleash him.
I mean, here's a kid who could be 6'10" before he graduates high school. Who knows?
Easily. So that's how I have it, and I believe, what does Four Sox have?
I don't think he has that game.
Right, because you have. Because we have different Frisch. You have Frisch.
Well, let's get through the quarters on his bracket here. So we did that. So he has Hafter playing Frisch in the second round because they will have upset TABC in the first round. He too takes Hafter, so that'll connect you guys. You'll connect back up there.
Our final four should be similar.
Hill beats DRS as we said, and Magan would beat SAR in that round on the crossover.
I don't know if that makes sense. Is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, because
I only know
SAR
the
beats
predictions
Ramage, they
that I
go
have.
here.
Right.
Magan, they would come. They would take them on.
It's like a whole flow chart.
There's lines and circles. But anyway,
balloons.
His final four would be Hillel, Magan, Hafter, and Heschel, and you have.
So I have.
You have
Hafter.
Hillel.
I have Hillel playing Magan and Share playing Hafter.
All right, so you have Share in there, and he has them knocked out by Heschel. So
okay.
All right.
So I have
final four.
Final four semifinals. You play the games to get home court advantage during the regular season for the playoffs. And Hafter Hawks against Shari Torah Stars. They played each other once this year in Brooklyn at Shari Torah. Hafter was undermanned that game, and they still came out victorious. I think this is going to be a great game. It's going to go till the end and maybe then some, but I do believe Hafter Hawks defeat the Shari Torah Stars in a great semifinal matchup. Hafter advances to Yeshiva University to play in the championship, and I think it's just going to be Jedwab, Appel, Steinmetz, Rokos are just going to lead them, and the X Factor, Jaime Salem, is going to play a part in that as well.
And in the Hafter Heschel matchup on Four Sox's bracket, he too picks Hafter going to the finals. And I said you guys were homers.
That's right. I haven't even started my championship yet.
All right.
The other game I have, the Hillel Heat. It's actually Mag and David going down to deal again because Hillel is the
Four
one
Sox
seed.
has the same game.
So this is a game has also happened at least once, I think twice this regular season.
Did we see this exact matchup in Satrin?
Did we see Mag and Hill? I believe.
Was it an opening night
I
game?
think that was an opening night game, and Magan won pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
I believe.
That's what knocked Hillel eventually into that B
Right.
bracket.
Because then they lost to YDE in the Joey Mishani
Woo!
game of lure. So
Go back and watch it, folks.
I have Mag and David Warriors defeating the Hillel Heat in this game. I believe Mag and David is just
Again, it's what we said. You have
Yeah.
two teams playing similar style of basketball, yet one is just so talented.
right.
at
Even with the
everything
home
they
court advantage, with Hillel having in Deal, New Jersey, I feel like the kids from Brooklyn, they know Deal. It's like their backyard. Also, they
For
spent
sure.
a lot of summers there.
do. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's interchangeable.
Right. I feel like they're just as comfortable. The trip from the charter flight from
Exactly.
Brooklyn to Deal is
Yeah.
going to be no problem for the Warriors. And I believe they go on and they face, for the 5th time this season, the Hafter Hawks against the Mag and David Warriors. And what is Four Sox have?
After Hawks, Mag and David Warriors.
Wow.
Wow.
So here, I haven't. If you look at my sheet,
What am I supposed to do here? Just tell me. Oh, okay. All right. moving on.
I haven't picked a winner yet because I was going back and forth.
What's
This will.
I have a winner. I can go first. You get mine.
All
You
right.
want to go first? Okay.
Four Sox has picked.
This is going to be March 8th. According to, that's when the championships are at Yeshiva University. The Hafter Hawks, we're both in agreement. The Hafter Hawks will face the Mag and David Warriors for an unprecedented 5th time this season.
Now, Ari, I don't want this to sway you,
Uh-oh.
but Four Sox has picked the Mag and David Warriors
Wow.
as champions of this year's regular season Yeshiva League.
The 2020 champions. The Four Sox goes with Mag and David. So I feel this game, I've seen, this will be the 5th time that they face each other.
Fifth time.
Yes, I've seen every one of the 4 previous games.
Huge loser.
Hafter has won once, and that means Mag and David has won 3 times. We saw that
Very, very good at
Yes,
math.
very good at math. We saw the championship game with Satrin.
We did.
It was a very close game at the end, and then the X Factor, Joe Sultan, just took over.
The X factor, the Y factor,
Y
Z
factor,
factor,
right, the grandma
cube,
factor, I mean,
squared,
Does it all.
trigonometry,
And he just took it over.
algebra.
Maybe this is my heart. You know, we are the Hafter Hawks broadcasters, but I feel that this is their year. That in a great game, and they have to play a perfect game to beat Mag and David. I believe they're going to beat Mag and David to become the champions of the Yeshiva League 2020, the first time Hafter will be champions since the 2014-15 season. And it's just going to be a great game, and we've seen it play out, numerous times before. But I feel like the want and the will of Hafter between the coaching and the players on how dedicated they are to this championship season, possibility that they're going to pull it out, and they're going to have to control Sultan, Nasiri, and Ansabi, Tico, as well as the sharpshooting at Dweck. It's going to be a great game, but I feel the Hafter Hawks are going to defeat Mag and David in the championship.
Well, Ari,
what do you think?
Like in combat sports, this is why they have 3 judges. All right,
Yes.
You can't. They try to eliminate ties.
I think I just got fired.
Oh, you got fired. All right. Well,
What happened?
before I get fired with you, let me break this game. Let me do a breakdown here because these are 2 teams I have seen.
Four
I've been
Sox
around
is
for these
available
games.
for next season.
So these are 2 teams that I have seen play quite a bit, and let me break this down for you. I will give you the same
I
breakdown.
think I know where you're going. But
Yeah, I'll give you the same breakdown I gave you in the Satrin tournament for those that saw our Satrin both pre-tournament and Satrin playoff tournament preview video. I mean, this isn't our first rodeo.
No.
Here, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely not.
So what we saw in that tournament going into the championship game was the fact that Hafter needed to play a perfect game to beat Mag and David. Do they have the ability? Yes. Do they have the talent to beat them? Absolutely. Do they have the scoring? Yes. And there are portions of the games that are running, gunning, back and forth. Points are going up. Although the Saturn final was not as high scoring as I think we thought it would be.
Right. Generally, these championship games are not because little nerves play into it.
Well, so that's what I was going to get to. Magan is the more talented team. They have more weapons, and they have the unstoppable. I mean, and I've told I've told Sultan this.
The only team who stopped him this year was DRS because he had the flu.
Well,
they put the flu on Sultan, and that knocked him out again.
That's the thing. He is, and he's developing still. He is unstoppable. Yes. He has certain moves. His drop step at the basket, his low post game, unstoppable. The only thing you can do is foul. Does foul trouble become a problem? Hafter has some great three-point shooting, but I think Magan has the speed to keep up with them. And I think nerves are going to play a factor in the championship game. And where Hafter needs to be at 100% to get it done, 95% won't do it. And I think that'll be enough for Coach Dweck
to cut down the nets once again.
Yeah. So Forsock and I are looking for a new broadcast home next year.
So
and Ari will be back.
You know what? I said I think it's going to be close, but I just feel like it's the year for Hafter. So those are our playoff predictions. You know, hear them. You know, use them as motivation. Use them as
There's no better bulletin board material than Ari Wickens.
Exactly. I mean, this is how I foresee the games. Unfolding throughout the playoffs. It's going to be great playoffs. We are most likely going to be doing another show previewing the championship.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, perhaps the semifinals. But definitely we will be back to do another show. And don't forget, check out for the brackets if you want to enter P Mongo.
Yeah, I'll pull that up again. That is P Mongo bracket. So PMONGO brackets. Follow Yeshiva League Pass if you just found this video somehow and are not already doing so. Follow us at hawks.livestream on Instagram and of course afterlive.com. For all, I'm sure all the Hafter playoff games will be on there live.
Yes.
And
for sometimes.
And a huge thank you to Holy Schnitzel for bringing us together one more time.
Bringing us together, breaking bread together.
I think we have to go break some bread over at Holy Schnitzel.
Holy Schnitzel, and also just Yeshiva League Pass. Everyone who's watching out there, appreciate what they do to provide this. Growing up, obviously we didn't have Instagram, but you can check out highlights, plays of the week, players of the tournaments, and everything else they cover. It's a great tool that you can follow on Instagram and really keep up, talk a little trash with your friends on the message board.
Not too much trash.
Not too much. We all keep it good, and it's going to be a great playoffs. And I think this is one of the most wide open playoffs. Really of all these 12 teams, I would say probably eight or nine of them have a legitimate chance to win the championship this year. So I'm Ari Wickes.
Jason Aaron, 4 socks. Jason Meyer behind
the camera.
Show us
the socks. Come up. Show us the socks.
No
Come
socks.
on. Come on. Here. He does.
He lifted his foot off the ground. That's enough. That's
and people have asked why we call him 4 socks. Yes.
Well, tune into our games.
Yes.
Afterlive.com. We'll tell you more at the next broadcast.
Exactly. And thanks again, Holy Schnitzel.
All right. There's a barking dog outside. I don't know who that belongs to, but we should probably go check it out.
Yes, we will.
All right. See ya.